Imagine going on a cruise with your family only to end up on the FBI's most wanted missing persons list. This was the fate of a young girl named Amy Lynn Bradley when she went on a holiday family vacation. Amy had just graduated and boarded the Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas cruise with her parents and her brother Brad in March of 1998. The family was having a great time together, enjoying all the ship's amenities, and Amy even became friends with the ship's band, the Blue Orchid. On the night of March 23rd, Amy and her brother partied in the ship's club. Amy danced and chatted with the bass player, Yellow, aka Alistair Douglas. Around 1 a.m., the siblings called it a night and returned to their family's cabin together. This would be the last time that Brad ever saw his sister. A few hours later at 5:30 in the morning, Ron Bradley, Amy's father, saw her on the deck of their family's stateroom lounging peacefully. All seemed well, but 30 minutes later when he looked again, Amy had vanished. Ron assumed Amy went back to sleep in her bedroom, but when he checked, she wasn't there either. Ron went and checked the ship's common areas but couldn't find Amy, and the family started to worry. They begged the cruise ship staff to cancel docking at Curacao but were ignored. Both 2,400 passengers and 765 crew members were allowed off the ship. As the Bradley family continued to desperately search for Amy, the ship's staff remained unhelpful. They didn't want to announce her disappearance or hang photos of her around the vessel, afraid it might upset the other passengers, and they only searched common areas, not staff or passenger cabins. It was possible that Amy might have fallen overboard, but extremely unlikely because she was a trained lifeguard and experienced avid swimmer. That's when her family recalled how Amy was receiving a lot of special attention from the ship's crew. A waiter had asked Amy out to a restaurant called Carlos and Charlie's during the ship's dock to Aruba. However, Amy had rejected this offer and stated how the crew members gave her the creeps. She wasn't wrong to feel this way, as it just so happens another young American woman had disappeared shortly after being seen at that same restaurant in Aruba. The Bradley family did everything in their power to find Amy, but it was like she vanished completely and all the leads went cold. However, the Bradley family never gave up and were hopeful when multiple people in the Caribbean claimed to have seen their daughter over the years. Just 5 months after her disappearance, 2 Canadian tourists spotted a woman who matched Amy's description on the beach with the exact same tattoos as Amy. These tattoos were pretty specific, such as a Tasmanian devil with a basketball on her shoulder, a sun on her lower back, a lizard on her stomach, and a Chinese symbol on her left ankle. She was accompanied by 2 men, and she tried to say something, but the men gestured her away. One of the tourists believes 100% that it was her. The following year, a woman comes forward stating that she's Amy Lynn Bradley at a brothel in Curacao. Crime Fanatic Friday Part 2, The Girl Who Disappeared from a Cruise Ship. 1 year after Amy Lynn Bradley's disappearance in 1999, a member of the Navy was in a brothel in Curacao when a woman came up to him and told him that she's Amy Lynn Bradley. She begged for his help, but he didn't report it because he didn't want to get in trouble. The officer stayed quiet until after his retirement when he saw Amy's face on People magazine, but by then she was long gone. That same year, the Bradley family gained a tremendous amount of hope when a man named Frank Jones, claiming to be a former U.S. Army Special Forces officer, contacted them. He stated that he knew exactly where Amy was and he could rescue her from the armed Colombians holding her in Curacao. Jones even had a witness statement from a cook who told the family that Amy was being held in a complex protected with barbed wire. The cook described Amy's tattoos and even hummed a lullaby that Amy's mom used to sing to her daughter when she was a baby. However, this all later turned out to be a complete fraud. Jones managed to scam the Bradleys out of over $200,000 with his charade of getting their daughter back. It turns out that all the evidence he showed them was made up, leaving the Bradleys back at square one. However, the sightings of Amy didn't stop. In 2005, the Bradleys received an email with a picture of a woman who appeared to be Amy, lying on a bed in her underwear. A member of an organization that locates sex trafficking victims on adult websites noticed the photo and thought it was Amy. She was identified as a woman named Jazz, a sex worker in the Caribbean. Unfortunately, this clue never generated new leads, and to this day, Amy Lynn Bradley remains missing. She continues to be listed on the FBI's most wanted missing persons list. Her family, however, has never given up hope and have offered sizable rewards and information on her whereabouts.
I, 22 male, just learned that my sister, 29 female, had an abortion to be able to donate me part of her liver. It caused her divorce, and I can't stop hating myself. I was very sick 4 years ago and was in need of a liver transplant. My situation was that it was very unlikely that I would get one in time. At that time, my sister was pregnant. I didn't know as it was early and she was only 2 months. My situation was getting worse and my sister decided to have an abortion, and then 2 months later we did the transplant surgery. Oh my god, what a nice sister. I never knew about the pregnancy. All I knew was that she gave me half of the liver. My sister and her husband divorced a year later. I didn't know the truth until yesterday when my mom slipped up about the abortion that my sister had. I asked her about it and she told me everything. She told me that my sister made her promise not to tell me and she failed that promise. My sister was very happy. My brother-in-law was a very decent guy. I knew they were looking forward to having children. They were great together. She always told us about how lucky she is to have found him. Apparently, at the time of their decision, my sister and her husband had great disagreements. He didn't want her to have the abortion and risk the transplant surgery and was hopeful that my situation might sort itself out without my sister's help. The chance was very small, but it was there. My sister didn't agree. They couldn't convince one another, and my sister did things anyway without his blessing. They tried working things out after the surgery. They went to counseling. They even tried to have another baby, but they couldn't get themselves to do it. He couldn't forgive my sister, and she wasn't all that apologetic, so they ended up separating and eventually divorcing. I asked my mom if my sister still thinks that she did the right thing, and she said she's not sure. I can't stop feeling guilty. My sister saved my life but destroyed her own life by doing it. She had to abort the baby she definitely loved and looked forward to, and did that knowing that it will probably end her marriage as well. I was ready to go at that time. I had accepted my fate and I was at peace. She should have just let me. My brother-in-law should have told me so I would have talked her out of it. I'm surprised he didn't, and I can't feel anything but hate for myself. I don't know what to do. Should I talk to my sister? What should I tell her? Should I keep my mouth shut and pretend that I don't know? I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to look into her eyes and not show that I know. I just don't know what to do. Please, please help me.
Every Christmas, I used to get a seasonal job in Toronto, which is when you just get to work somewhere completely fucking random for the month of December. Back in the day when I started doing this, you got to make $12 an hour, which was fucking lit. I'd share with you and then rate these jobs. Sorry, these are from Instagram in 2012. This is when I worked at Whole Foods in Yorkville. This chick is a mother now. Chill in like a Santa's workshop gift basket office that was full of cookies and fucking charcuterie shit, and then put it in baskets and tie bows. And then we just had a certain amount of orders we had to do for the day, and then we would just put them aside and eat so much shit. Like the amount of shit we stole from Whole Foods was a little bit criminal. Any amount is criminal, but ho ho ho, fuck you. This wasn't my favorite. This was when I was working at Bloor Street Market as a deli girl who sliced cheese. I didn't pick well with this one because Bloor Street Market was right next to U of T where I went to university, and people would like go grocery shopping there and see me in class, and then all of a sudden see me wearing a hairnet, slicing cheese, and measuring salami and shit. So let's forget this one. This one was good. The body shop. The body shop was jokes. All we did just learn smells. And we just sold body butter. You remember body butter? And we got to wear these little shirts that said give joy. Oh. Store discount. Everybody got body butter for Christmas that year. Oddly enough, this location closed a week after Christmas. Get ready for my favorite. Okay. I sold teddy bears at the Toronto Christmas market when I was 23 years old. The hourly for this one was actually like 17 bucks an hour or something. It was legit. However, unfortunately, this job drove me to insanity because over here we sold this thing that was like an edible Christmas card for dogs. Everybody would come over and go, my God, Cheryl, come here, look at this. It's an edible Christmas for dogs. Stop. Should we get one for Peanut? And they'd look at me and go, what's it made of? And I'd go, rawhide. This is before I had a dog, so I like had no fucking clue. I was like, dog people are fucked. This card is lame. My first boyfriend had dumped me the year before, and his mom came and was like, hi, Sam. And I was like, why am I here selling fucking teddy bears? There was one heater in the hut and it was next to my shins, so I got eczema on my shins. There was a guy next to my hut that was selling donuts, and literally every 20 seconds he'd go, Feliz Navi donut. Funnily enough, this is probably my favorite one because look how fucking jokes that is. I'm gonna leave you with this. This is my first ID card when I started working at Scotiabank Arena when I was 18. Okay. Now I'm 29. So I'm more beautiful now, I think we can all agree, and that is my Christmas gift to me and to you. Merry Christmas.
So I have started a series called It's My Story series where people submit their stories in hopes to let out their secrets, hoping that they can get advice, a shoulder to lean on. And for a lot of people, it's a form of therapy. So if you have a deep story you want to tell us, go to my Instagram, xrosebeauty, and submit your story. This story is very deep. Viewer discretion is advised. This young lady is a Muslim and they hold women in a very high standard. Their virginity is very important to them. Women get killed if they lose their virginity before marriage. That's how bad it is at times. But unfortunately, somebody in her family took that from her at a very, very young age, and it traumatized her to the point where she has thoughts of ending it all once and for all because she just doesn't know how to process this situation. This family member that did this to her took so much from her. She's terrified because something like this brings dishonor to the family, to the point where the family can disown you or end your life. She's scared that if she tells her family what this person did to her, they won't believe her. And the sad truth is that so many women go through this. She is looking for words of encouragement and advice.
Story time on how I caught my sister giving my husband head, so I made both of them drink my pee. Okay, so a quick rundown. At this point, I was married to my husband for 2 years, but we've been together for 5. I obviously knew my sister my whole life, but she was always known to be easy or loose, if you catch my drift. Everyone in the family knew this, but we looked past her thoughtism. So anyways, it's Christmas Eve and we're having a family get together, so there's a lot of us there. Let me make this clear. Me and my sister were close and me and my husband were on great terms, so it's not like I could have seen this coming. So the Christmas Eve party started in the backyard so we can bring Christmas in together, and everything was pretty normal. I did see my sister being a little bit too friendly, a little bit too flirty, but I just thought that was her thoughtism coming out. I thought nothing of it. I didn't think they would stoop that low. Oh well, Oh, they stooped, bitch. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how I caught my sister giving my husband head, so I made both of them drink my pee. But like I said, the Christmas Eve party started and it was all fun and games until I realized my husband had been missing for 30 minutes. I didn't even realize my sister was gone. I just thought maybe he wasn't too comfortable around all of my family, so he went to the room. So I went looking for him. Well, he was more than just comfortable, bitch. I opened up that guest room we were staying at, and right there before my eyes, my sister on her knees with his peen in her mouth. They both looked up so shocked, and before they can even react, I ran over to her and grabbed her hair, threw her to the floor, turned around and slapped him. That's right, the almighty slap. Then I proceeded to stomp on my fucking sister. Like for part 3. Part 3 on how I caught my sister giving my husband head, so I made both of them drink my pee. So like I said, I was stomping my sister out. He tried to stop me, which pissed me off even more, so I turned around and kicked him in the balls. He fell to the floor and I stomped him a couple times too. At this point, my husband and my sister are both on the floor crying, asking me for forgiveness. I'm sorry. They weren't going to be sorry if I never caught them. Y'all, I was so angry, I ran downstairs and I took the apple cider, went to the bathroom, and I pissed all in that fucking bottle. And it was a lot of pee, child. I went back to the room and opened her peen-sucking mouth and poured my piss all in there. And as she gagged, I ran to my husband and did the same. Everybody gets pee today. After part 4. Part 4, last part of how I caught my sister giving my husband head, so I made the both of them drink my pee. So like I said, everybody gets pee. As my sister's gagging, I ran over to my husband, and as he's trying to say sorry, I opened up that mouth and put the rest of my jizz in there. I was so angry I couldn't stop. I told them both that I cleaned their filthy mouths with my pee, and then I proceeded to start fighting him again. You guys so fucking mad. Oh my gosh. Essentially,